Hey guys, I hope everybody is doing as great as I am today. Listen, guys, we are going to be very quick about this video. I do have to work today, so I'm not going to be very long. I definitely wanted to show you guys, though, however, what is really happening with Umar Johnson, okay? Because he has been saying, according to him yesterday, that he hasn't been notified about all this stuff. He's a victim and all this stuff. And we're going to see whether or not this is actually the case, okay? Not only whether he was notified of this situation, but also what really happens in regards to the vacant property fees, okay? And whether or not that applies to a nonprofit organization and what they can do to help themselves in this situation, okay? Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in. Hey, beautiful Bernice, I do appreciate you being in the building. Everybody that's in the clouds and everyone that will catch the replay as well. We're not going to be very long today. I just wanted to take some time to discuss this since, again, I am in Delaware. And, it's very easy to look this information up. You can actually see for yourselves. And we're going to look it up in real time whether or not what Umar had said yesterday is the truth. Okay. So let me go ahead and without further ado, go ahead and play for you guys what Umar said. Shout out to Pocket Watching with JT. If you guys do go over there, you can check him out. I will put a link to him, or if one of the mods can put his link in the comment section, that would be great. That way, you guys can go over and check out the full video. But I am in fair use going to play this portion of the video just based off of what Umar was trying to say. So we're going to play that first, and then I'm going to get over to the actual facts in regards to the vacant property fees and whether or not that does apply to Umar Johnson's situation and what he could have done in this situation if this does apply to him. Hey, Divine, and hey, Stephanie Collins, I appreciate you as well. And let's go ahead without further ado and play this because I do need to get to work. And, I don't want to be here all day. So let's go ahead and play a portion of Pocket Watch It with JT's video so that we can see whether or not Umar Johnson was telling the truth.
To donate to FDMG. Text me for the links to support Dr. Umar, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. On August the 5th, brothers and sisters, on August the 5th, the city of Wilmington, Delaware, took out a notice to auction off the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy campus for unpaid vacant property registration fees. I repeat, on August the 5th, the city of Wilmington, Delaware, took out a lien to auction off the campus we bought, the campus we've been working on for 6.5 years. I was not notified of this. We were not notified of this. This past weekend, without an email, this past weekend, without a letter in the mail, this past weekend, without a phone call, the city of Wilmington put a notice on the door handle of both of our schools, informing me that if we don't pay the past due vacant property registration fees and outstanding utilities by the 25th of Black August, they will sell our campus. Brothers and sisters, can I ask you a question? Why were we not notified that they were going to try to sell our campus? Brothers and sisters, why are they trying to sell our campus at the very moment that our accounts are frozen? Brothers and sisters, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that the city of Wilmington is trying to sell properties that we own and have been working on continuously behind our backs? They were going to sell our schools behind our backs. They didn't even tell us that they were going to try to sell our schools. We received no notice in the mail. We received no notice by email. We received no phone calls at all that they were going to try to sell our schools. Instead, they put a notice on the door handle. Somebody stole one set of notifications, and sent it to the YouTubian struggle streamers. Somebody stole the Frederick Douglass High School paperwork off the front door and sent it to the struggle streamers. But luckily for us, Sister Ra Ebony was able to get the paperwork off the Marcus Garvey School before the haters stole that paperwork. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe that they were going to sell the school, and they wanted to sell the school before we found out. I believe that they wanted to sell the school before we found out. We were not supposed to know that they were going to sell our school. Why do I say that? We were given no notification. We received no letter in the mail. We received no email. We received no phone call that they were going to try to sell our schools. Instead, they put a notice on the door. In a low-income neighborhood, they put a notice on the door with rubber band and masking tape. They put a notice on the school front door with a rubber band and masking tape. Brothers and sisters,
SMH. Let's go ahead and keep this going, y'all. I have a hard time listening to this man. I really do. I have a very difficult time listening to him, especially when I know he's lying. Okay. I mean, I just think it's absolutely disgusting that he would try to play on the hearts of the people with these lies. And we're going to prove him wrong this morning. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's just play a little bit more of this. And again, if somebody can put a link to Pocket Watching with JT's channel in the comment section, I would really appreciate that. That way, you guys can go over and watch the full video over there. But let's go ahead and continue, guys.
it gets worse. Back in April, when I found out about the overdue vacant property registration fees, I had asked the city of Wilmington if they could retroactively apply our nonprofit waiver. According to the nonprofit waiver for the
Now, you guys heard him say he did obviously get notification, right? Because he decided to ask them in April about this. So it's clear that he's been well aware of this for at least 4 or 5 months, right? Let's continue. Let's go ahead.
city of Wilmington, if you are a nonprofit organization, they will waive your vacant property registration fees for 4 years. If you are a nonprofit organization in the city of Wilmington, they will waive your nonprofit vacant property registration fees for 4 years. If they would have applied our nonprofit vacant property registration waiver, we would owe absolutely nothing.
Okay, so let's go ahead and discuss what he just said because he said that he would have been able to get a waiver for 4 years, okay, for a nonprofit organization. Let's see if that's really the truth, okay? And we're going to go ahead and share my screen here on whether or not a vacant property waiver fee in Wilmington, Delaware, for a nonprofit organization is actually a thing and how long that actually lasts. Okay. So, yes, it is a fact that nonprofit organizations in Wilmington, Delaware can potentially receive a vacant property fee waiver. The city's vacant property ordinance provides a 1 year fee waiver. 1 year fee waiver. Do you guys see what Wilmington says about this? Okay. That yes, you can get a 1 year fee waiver, potentially extended to 2 years, not 4 years, guys. Okay. Potentially extended to 2 years. And that is under certain circumstances. And we are going to discuss those circumstances now. Okay. So the city's vacant property ordinance provides a 1 year fee waiver, potentially extended to 2 years, for nonprofit organizations rehabilitating or actively working to sell or lease a vacant building. Okay. So those are what you actually have to be doing in order for this waiver to actually take place. Okay. So let's do the math. He has had these buildings since 2019. Okay. So if he wanted to get this fee waiver for the vacant property fees, he should have requested this in 2019. Okay. And then that would have held him with the nonprofit status. That could have potentially held him until 2020, and then he could have gotten an extension on this to up to an additional year, which would have gotten him to 2021. However, during the years of 2019 and 2020, he would have actively had to be rehabilitating the property, or he would have actively had to be selling or leasing the vacant building to someone else, okay? Which clearly he did not do either one of these things. If he had done the actual rehabilitating of the buildings, then there should have been permits that were public information that would have been posted, that he should have, that the city would have been able to display that he is actively working on these buildings. But however, Umar Johnson has never applied for a permit to rehab the building. And we know this, shout out to KKC, that he was able to show us that there have never been any permits that were established in order to rehab the building. So that's number one. Number two, he should have been actively selling or leasing this vacant property, which clearly that never happened either. Okay. So he had potentially up until 2021, at least the end of 2021, in order for this fee waiver to ever, to take place. Okay. And clearly, none of that has ever happened. Now, let's talk about whether or not you are notified in the city of Wilmington, in regards to the. Well, hold on. Let's go into a little bit more of an explanation of what they mean by fee waiver for rehab, lease, or sale. The Wilmington Vacant Property Ordinance requires registration and fees for vacant buildings. However, it offers a 1 year fee waiver, potentially 2 years, for nonprofits if the owner can demonstrate that they are actively working to rehabilitate the building or actively attempting to sell or lease it. Okay. Then for nonprofit organizations, this waiver can be a significant benefit, right? If this is a nonprofit organization, obviously, if you're trying to rehab the building, if you're trying to sell the building, obviously this would be something that would be of a benefit. Fee exemption for affordable housing providers. And again, this would not be for him, but this would be in this. This is what they have as provisions. A separate provision in the ordinance may exempt nonprofit organizations meeting specific criteria from the registration fee requirements. This exemption applies to organizations actively building, rehabilitating, or providing affordable housing units within the county or similar jurisdictions for at least 5 years. Okay. Now, this would be for housing providers, not for somebody who's opening a school. Okay. This exemption could cover a broad range of nonprofit activities related to housing only. Okay. That would be in the 5 year range, would only be for housing providers. So, again, our people perish for lack of knowledge. So we're going to get our knowledge today. Okay. We're going to be fully aware of how this actually works here in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Okay. Now, additional considerations would be the ordinance also allows for extensions of fee waiver periods up to 90 days if approved by code officials. Okay. For nonprofits receiving vacant buildings or public funds from the city for acquisition or rehabilitation, the fee calculation may be based on the date they received the building or funds, not necessarily the date of vacancy. Okay. So these are all things that he should have considered back in 2019 when he originally acquired these buildings. Nonprofits should consult the specific details of the vacant property ordinance and potentially work with the city's licenses and inspections department to understand their eligibility and requirements, which obviously is something he failed to do according to his own words. Okay. Now, let's go into whether you are notified or not if you receive a judgment for non payment of fees. Okay. Let's share this screen. Yes, in Wilmington, Delaware, if a property owner fails to pay vacant property fees and a judgment is entered against them, they will be notified. The city of Wilmington can initiate civil actions to collect unpaid fees, and the property owner will be notified of the proceedings. Here's a more detailed explanation. For vacant property registration, the city of Wilmington requires owners of vacant properties to register them and to pay an annual fee. Civil action. If the fees are not paid, the city can pursue civil action to collect the debt. Notification. When a civil action is filed, sorry guys, when a civil action is filed, the property owner will be served with a summons and complaint, which includes information about the court date and how to respond to the claim. The judgment. If the property owner does not respond to the legal action or fails to appear in court, a judgment can be entered against them by default. Consequences. A judgment allows the city to pursue various legal remedies to collect unpaid fees, such as wage garnishments or property liens, and criminal proceedings. According to Wilmington.gov, in addition to civil actions, the city can also institute criminal proceedings for failing to register a vacant property, potentially resulting in fines. Okay, so Mr. Johnson was very aware of all of this. And according to him, he was aware of it, even though he claimed he wasn't, but then turned around and said he was because he asked them back in April for this fee waiver, which obviously the reason why they denied him this and the reason why they ignored him allegedly according to him is because he is well beyond the 1 to 2 year extension that he could have potentially received for this back in 2019. Okay, it is 2025. Okay, so they've allowed them to continue with this for an extended period of time. They have given him an extended amount of time to know this stuff, okay, and to do something about this, okay. Now, let's do one more thing about this. Let's go ahead and share this right here because I wanted it to be very clear today of how long you actually have in order to resolve such an issue, okay. So in Wilmington, Delaware, if you fail to pay vacant property fees, you will receive a notice within 30 days after the fees become due. This notice, issued by the Commissioner of Licenses and Inspections, will be an invoice detailing the civil fines and any applicable remediation costs. Failure to pay within 30 calendar days of the invoice date can result in penalties. Specifically, the city can issue a violation within 30 days after the fee due date, punishable by a fine of $100 to $500 according to Wilmington.gov. Additionally, the city may pursue criminal proceedings and or civil action to collect unpaid fees. The fine for failing to register or pay fees is not subject to suspension or reduction, according to Wilmington.gov. So again, people, our people perish due to lack of knowledge, okay? And what we're not going to do today is play around with the ancestors. At the end of the day, sir, you were well aware of these fees. You were well aware of these civil proceedings that are going against you, and you should have done something about this a long time ago. But you chose not to do something about it, and this is why you're experiencing what you are. So we're going to go ahead and end this here. I don't want to be long. I just wanted to share that and show you guys the truth in regards to this and whether or not, Umar Johnson is telling the truth or not. I do appreciate all of you for being in the building. Let me go ahead and go over your comments real quick, and then we are going to end the show. Hold on 1 second, guys. Yes, child. Hey, Domo Jones, I appreciate you being in the building. You said he insults his donor's intelligence, and it's absolutely disgusting how that's happening, right? And how, I don't know if there's some people who just aren't aware of how this works, or, they just don't know. I don't know, but we're not going to give any excuses today. We're going to show the truth and what these things actually, mean. Okay. You said peace to the beautiful Bernice. You said, but he did just say he got no notifications. Exactly. How could you say you didn't get notifications, but then you turn around and say, I asked them for an extension in April and they ignored me. Yeah, they ignored you because you've been well over the 1 to 2 year period that you had to resolve this matter a long time ago. Like we're talking 4 years ago at this point, right? 5 years ago, if you really want to be exact. You said, "Hey, Domo Jones." You said, "Forgetting his own lies. It don't make no sense. It really don't." You said, "When Umar went to the PO box flexing the donations, he also saw bills." Umar knows he hasn't paid shit in 5 years. Exactly. He knows he has not paid a single one of these bills since he has acquired these buildings. And now he's mad that they're finally, doing something about it. And it took them this long is what's wild, right? This is, goes to show that he actually had time to clean this up. He actually had time to fix this. He just chose not to. He literally just chose not to. You said it's been 6 years plus, though, my guy. Exactly. Exactly. You said the bills accrued. Exactly. And he allowed that to happen, without doing anything about it. You said it's been since 2019. That's 6 years. Exactly. Hey, unadulterated truth. Appreciate you being in the building. You said, North Philly don't even claim his Lion A no more. Okay. I'm just saying, we don't claim him either in Delaware. So, I don't know what he's talking about. Peace to all his Delaware Africans and all. Boy, nobody supports you here. You know that. You said they'll the first year slide. They'll let the first year slide. Exactly. You said, "Good morning, Black Lounge Divine and Chat." Hey, YouTube Unfolded. I appreciate you being in the building. You said, so he doesn't fall under that. Exactly. He does not fall under this because again, he only had a year. If he wanted to, to give them that, he could have gave them that in 2019. That would have took him through 2020. He could have gotten a 1 year extension on that, and that would have been till 21. Okay, but he didn't do that. It's clear he didn't do that, so he can't then turn around 4 and 5 years later and ask for an extension. That's not how this works. Everybody gets treated the same way. You say, "Hey, unadulterated truth." You say, "I'm about to hit the gym. I'm turning up to give Jake Paul that turning up he's got coming." You said, "Yes, ma'am." You said, "Umar hasn't done ish." Exactly. Everybody's saying hey to each other. You said, "No accountability and never on top of things." And that's exactly what's been going on for the past several years at this point. And the city of Wilmington is just sick of it at this point. It don't make any sense. It really doesn't. You said, "Hey, Divine." You said, "Unadulterated, we're going to make $100." You said, "I'll be back in the clouds for a minute. Be right back." Okay. You said that might be why those accounts are frozen. Exactly. That definitely might be why, or at least, they're coming for him on those uncollected payments. I think it's something different, though. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I don't think it's the city. It could be. It very well could be, but I'm not sure. Right? We'll see how that unfolds. But it's clear that he's definitely still saying that those accounts are still frozen, and that's just unfortunate at this point. You said, "Hey to Stephanie for sure." You said, "I wonder if the fine is incurred daily." Let's see. Let me see. It just says specifically the city can issue a violation within 30 days after the fee due date, punishable by a fine of $100 to $500. Additionally, the city may pursue criminal proceedings and or civil action to collect the unpaid fees. The fine for failing to register or pay fees is not subject to suspension or reduction, according to Wilmington. So I don't know. It doesn't say daily. It just says, that that's how much the fine is, and also that this is something that could be subject to criminal proceedings as well, and how they can collect those fees along with the other fees that are owed. So that's the only thing it really says. So you said, "Hey, Josephine, appreciate you." You said, "I need a chat waiver." You said, "Umar keeps his donors in the dark for real." It's sad, right? It's really, really sad. Hey, Peace Tricks, appreciate you being in the building as well. And you said he all the time he had all the time during COVID instead of painting. Exactly. Instead of being out here painting doors and painting walls and picking out colors for the floor and all the lime yellow and lime green and all these other stupid things he's been doing. He should have been paying these fees. He should have been taking care of business. And he has not been taking care of business. And now he's asking y'all to still send more money to him. I think it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting what he's doing. You said, and now he's doing what we expected and claiming racism and conspiracy. Exactly. No, ninja, pay your bills. It's funny he's saying we now, right? We, they're trying to take our school. They're trying to take our buildings. But yet when people ask you about our buildings and our school, it's always your buildings and your school unless I donate to you, right? That's the only way you're going to give me an answer. And even people who are now coming out saying they have in fact donated to him and he's still not giving them an answer either, right? So let's be real about all of this. You said by the fact it's been 5 years, the fee continues to rise. Exactly. You said that's why he said they're raising the bill to 12K. Okay. You said he can fly to Sweden, Ghana, and drive all over the U.S., but not drive a few blocks to handle business. And the funny part about it is he can pay these bills online. Okay. He don't even have to go and drive up to the city to pay the bill. He can actually go online to wilmington.gov and pay these bills. And he just chose not to while collecting your money. Okay. I mean, let's be real about this. That's exactly what this dude has been doing. So we're going to go ahead and end this here. I appreciate you guys being in the building. Make sure you guys do hit the like button. But, child, I got to make money so I can actually pay my bills. Okay. But I will talk to you guys later. And peace, guys. Thank you guys again for watching. And yes, everything is electronic now. You no longer have to walk up to a building to pay your bills. You can pay that online. Okay. You guys know this. My bad, guys. You guys know this, but y'all have a good one. I am going to end the show so I can go pay my bills. Okay. Peace, guys. Thank y'all for watching.